Something that's been bugging me for however long it's been is why, as a society, are we so disconnected from each other? Why are we why are we so just so I grew up in a time where there's no cell phones. There was no GPSs. There was no technology. Video wasn't even really a thing. At least mainstream, it wasn't back then. We had video cameras, but it was all, home video stuff, nothing you could really share. Other than going over to someone else's house and watching it, or doing another recording. Point is, we didn't have these things back then. And this is the mid 80s, so like 85 when I was born. But I grew up in a time where there was no internet back then until 90. I want to say it was 95. I think 94, 95 is when the internet was born. And I appreciate that time now, thinking back, because I can see how far we've come, and how far we have got away from the way we communicate. And I don't think it's a good thing. So let me explain. Let me start off by talking about text messaging. Technology is a wonderful thing. I think text messaging has revolutionized the way we communicate, getting important messages out to people if we can't talk. But now it's become a problem. We would rather text people than talk on the phone. I can't remember the last time I've talked to some people in my life. It bothers me that no one anymore is willing to pick up the phone and call someone. Again, texting is a wonderful thing, but we have to supplement it. Supplement it for a phone call, or with a phone call, not for a phone call. It should always only be a supplement to the main ways that we communicate. Face to face. I think a video call is better than a text message. It just is. I think that we've just gotten away from these things. And it's ruined relationships. I know it has, because you hear stories on people that they'll be texting their friend back and forth, and they get upset because they think their friend meant something, and in actuality they were never upset, or in some circumstances you thought they were fine with everything, and in fact they weren't. You're trying to mind read a text message, and you can only take a text message at face value. But our minds work differently, because we're trying to feel and understand what the other person is saying, but that's impossible, because not everyone takes everything at face value anymore. I mean, it's hard, because we're so used to, as a society, or at least we were, talking on the phone. Remember these things called landlines? You had to pick up a phone and actually call someone in order to talk to them. There was no other way of form of communication. None. Email wasn't even around back then. And we don't want to do that anymore. We don't want to pick up a phone. We just don't. And I get it. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not a parent, so I can't speak for parents, but I do understand that people have families and they can't talk on the phone all the time. They can't do those things. I got it. Text messaging is easier in those ways. But even if you set aside time to talk to someone, I think that's more realistic. But to to never pick up the phone, to never call someone and only text bothers the crap out of me. Bothers me so much. Why we have the need to shield ourselves from the world uh, bothers me. Um, I think it plays a big role in mental health, and it's affected me throughout the years. It's been better recently. I myself have become more intentional with my friends and the people, family around me. I call and pick up the phone. I communicate in any form, even if they can't, talk on the phone. I will use text messaging, but it's not my main form of communication. I don't like it to be. And people wonder why I don't answer texts sometimes or right away. Because I'd rather talk to you on the phone, man. I'd rather talk to anyone on the phone. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm just I'm an old school guy, and I'm 36. I shouldn't have to even call myself old school. I don't understand why older and wiser people would rather text than call someone over the phone. I still that I'm flabbergasted by that. Because the younger people should be the ones that want to do that, and the older people, as I said, should be the ones who want to do the old school way. I am completely flabbergasted by that. And is it just because now that, you know, growing up, that those parents that I had been around growing up, that they just kind of they were there too for the beginning of it, obviously with all the technology and stuff. But is it just because it just got blurred in with their kids? I mean, man, it's it's concerning to me that I don't see people outside on the streets playing with their friends or or going to their house to play. And when I play, I mean I don't mean video games. I mean like going on the swing sets, going on um, playing outside on the monkey bars. You got all that still. I'm not saying that's not around anymore. I know there's a lot of people that do that, but it seems so few and far between. It feels that way to me. At least when I lived in Phoenix for the 5 years, I never went down one street, not one, where people were playing outside. The house I grew up in, the street I grew up on, empty. Absolutely empty. When I was growing up, it was not like that. The streets were always had someone on it every day. I'm not saying you have to have like a street full of like people that you can't walk. I'm not saying that, but there were people on the streets playing. There were people outside on their bikes. And now it's come to playing video games and and you know, I don't know. Don't get me wrong here. I was one of those kids that played video games too growing up. I I played for hours on end at times, but my parents, my mom, my stepdad, other people in my life would say, "Get outside. You can't be on that console, that video game for that long." They would strict us sometimes. Go outside, get some fresh air. Go play some. Go just be outside. And if it wasn't doing something else outside, it'd be doing chores. Like, it's just concerning to me. And whether I may have played somewhat of a role in that growing up. Yeah, I played too many video games at some points in my life, but it wasn't to this extent. I knew my limitations. I had parents and family around me to say, "Get outside, or I'm going to put you outside," because like technology was just getting really really popular back then, and it was like amazing. It was amazing stuff, but it's not something it's not something that my parents like ignored, you know. They got us outside. They got us to be more than hermits. But today I don't know, guys. And maybe it's because I'm an adult now, and maybe it's just because I'm not a parent and I don't see people playing outside as much anymore. But I mean, why am I walking down streets every day when I was in Phoenix? Why am I driving past neighborhoods that have no people outside? None. It's a problem. Has technology in general ruined the way we communicate? I'm no expert, and again, I'm no parent, other than our little dog over here in the palm of my hand. I I don't know what to say. I love my technology, but any day of the week, you ask me any day of the week, would I rather play a video game and sit on Xbox Live playing with other people? Or would I rather go over to someone's house and have a conversation and shoot the shit? I would take option B any day of the week. Interpersonal relationships, interpersonal communication, I think it's the right word, is more important to me than anything else. Because our mental health matters. Our mental health is. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to look something up. I want to make sure I'm using the right word. Okay, so I guess that's kind of the right word. Maybe interpersonal isn't the exact right word, but the point is, the point is, we need to sit face to face with each other, whoever you are, whoever in the world, and just have conversations again, not through a text message. That's all I'm saying. So I'd rather sit in front of someone and communicate than sit in front of a TV and communicate. I'll take a video call. I will take a phone call, especially phone calls. If you can't sit in front of someone video call, and video calling is probably the next best thing to a phone call. So I lump those two together. But I'm just saying, guys, just think about these things. Whoever you are, I'm not trying to judge anyone. I'm not trying to call anyone out. This is just a conversation. My question is, has technology ruined the way we communicate? And as far as I go, in my opinion on that, I think it has. I really do. I think it has. And I think it's affected mental health. And I think it is affecting mental health. From someone that struggles with mental health. Not as much as I used to, but I still do. So, with that said, I'm going to get out of here. I think I've rambled on long enough about this subject. But it was good to have a thought. It was good to have something concrete that I wanted to talk about today. And I appreciate you guys watching and listening as always. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.